Serving their community is who they are because they love where they live. REMAX 3D Real Estate is proud to bring you Heart of Greenville, a video series dedicated to celebrating all the wonderfully great things about Greenville, Texas. On every episode, Dennisha Denny will share Greenville's story through the stories of people who call Greenville home. This is Heart of Greenville.
Thank you so much for watching Heart of Greenville. Our show would not be possible without our sponsors, so thank you so much to REMAX 3D Real Estate and Triton Networks for being our sponsors of Heart of Greenville. REMAX 3D Real Estate is here to serve you for all of your buying or selling needs. And Triton Networks is here for you for all of the business needs that you may have, whether it be internet, phone, technology. They put it all together for you into a one-stop shop. Our guest today is our Chief Appraiser, Mr. Brent South. I asked Brent to come on the show because I really wanted you to get to meet the person that leads the charge for the Hunt County Appraisal District. He has a very difficult job, and I wanted you to get to meet him as a person. Here's my conversation with Brent South. Hey y'all, I'm Dennisha Denny, your host of Heart of Greenville, and today we're sitting down at the third floor at the landmark on Lee Street at The Landing. My guest today is a very special guest that I actually got to know through the Hunt County Leadership Program back in 2008-2009, Mr. Brent South. How are you today, Brent?
I'm doing great. Wow, it's hard to believe that was 2008, 2009. Seems
Yes.
like it was just yesterday.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. I was
Yeah.
thinking back. I was like, okay, when did I meet Brent South? And that's how I met you whenever Sally Bird through the chamber had the leadership program. And
Absolutely. That was a great class.
Yeah.
I learned so much through that experience just about Greenville and Hunt County and just meeting good people like you. We had a great group.
we did.
But I still can't believe it was that long ago.
I can't either. It does. It feels like a lifetime ago, but then yet it does feel like it was just yesterday.
Right,
And I
right.
remember her putting us on those buses, the little bus, what
Oh,
are they called? Anyway, it was like a little bus, and she took us around. And I remember going to the Longhorn farm and seeing the Longhorns on one trip.
There were some long days. There were. And as a matter of fact, I remember a small group of us making a field trip to go take a look at the hazardous household waste
Yes.
place there. Where'd we go?
Did you go to Commerce? You weren't in my group though.
No.
You were with Kim Quimby, right? Was that in your group?
No, yes. And we did the hazardous household waste place here in Greenville
Yes.
out of that group. So
Yes.
good things came out of it.
It
Absolutely.
did. It did. So I was on the spot.
That's
the,
right.
The
That's
intersection
right.
of Lee and
Yeah.
Wesley. So that was our project.
Yeah.
So such a great thing. But it let us meet other leaders in the community. That's what I loved about that.
Right.
And we learned how to work together.
Absolutely.
It was really cool. So anyway, I didn't know that's what we were going to start off with, but there we go. Thank you so much, Brent, for sitting down with me. I know that I've been asking you for almost a year now, and so I'm so thankful you finally said yes. So thank you for agreeing to do that.
Well, I'm glad to do it, and it's good to sit down and talk to you, and hopefully we can have a great conversation. People can get to know a little bit about me and what I do and what I'm about. So
And that's
glad
what
to
we
do it.
want, and that's why we have the show.
Sure.
So people can really get to know people in our community and to know your story. Everyone knows you as the Chief Appraiser, but they don't know who you are as Brent South. So let's talk about the Brent South story.
The Brent South story. How far do you want to go back?
As far as you want, Brent.
No, let's see. The Brent South story. I grew up the son of a Southern Baptist minister, so I was a
Really?
preacher's kid.
You're-
So
you're-
fill in whatever you want there. But no, I had a great childhood. I had great parents. I've got an older sister who, me and her, we get along great now, but it wasn't always the case growing up, as you can imagine.
Was she a big sister to you?
She was a big sister to me, but she also was a good big sister. She picked on me a lot, but she helped me out of a lot of jams as well. So, but I grew up in West Texas, in Midland.
you?
I did.
didn't realize that.
I was a Midland Lee rebel. So, after high school, I decided I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. So I went down. Me and a buddy of mine decided to go down to the Marine Corps recruit station. He was all gung-ho, said, let's go do this. And we got down there and we talked to the recruiter, and I ended up signing up, and he decided not to. So,
Really?
But I'm glad I did it. It was a great experience. I wouldn't trade it for the world. So
That's awesome. I didn't realize you served.
I did.
Thank you so much for that. I did not know that.
Yeah. So
What was that like serving? I know we're in the middle of the Brent South story, but
Well-
what was it like to?
Well, I think that it's something that you grow from. I was an 18-year-old kid that thought I knew everything, and the drill instructors showed me real quick that I knew nothing. So But it's something that I think people should experience. I think it teaches you a lot of discipline. It really shows you, it makes you grow up real quick. I was fortunate I didn't have to serve overseas or any conflict, so I timed that just right, and I have a lot of respect for our military folks who have served.
Absolutely.
But that was a great experience.
What did you do in the Marines?
I was actually a grunt, just infantry. Yeah,
Just-
I just was trained to fight. So,
Wow.
Yeah. But
Hey, that helped you later in life,
I guess so, right?
along with your big sister.
Exactly.
It gave you tough skin.
That's right.
What made you decide to get out?
You know, I was just, that was something that I wanted to do, and I did it, and I accomplished it, and I thought it's time to go on to other things and see what the world has to offer.
Did you get to
And-
stay? Were you stationed anywhere fun?
No,
or?
no, I was in San Diego.
Oh, in
So-
the beautiful San Diego,
Yeah,
where the
I had it
weather's
really,
perfect.
I had it really rough. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I was fortunate I didn't have to go anyplace overseas. I would have liked to have gone overseas, but I had a pretty good gig there in San Diego as well.
I
So
bet.
I wasn't complaining too much. But after the Marine Corps, I came back home and just had some odd jobs here and there, kind of trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And I started dating this girl, and we started getting pretty serious. And she told me if we're going to continue on with this relationship, you need to get a career. And her dad happened to be the chief appraiser in Smith County. And she said, I think I can get you a job working for the appraisal district. And I said, okay, that's great. What is an appraisal district?
Right.
I had no idea. So it worked out well. Her dad had a position open. He offered me a job. I walked in the first day on the job, still had no clue what the appraisal district was. Worked there for about a month before I finally asked some of my coworkers, what exactly do we do around here?
Right.
And then,
What did he have you doing?
well, I
that
was just
first
doing,
month?
actually I was hired in as an appraiser, but I was
Okay.
doing the jobs that none of the other senior appraisers wanted to do. Basically, I spent a lot of time making maps. There was a little corner office in the back. That's before we had GIS and all the high-tech mapping systems that we have now. And there was a little corner office in the back of the building where we made Mylar maps. And so I would sit there all day, every day, making copies of maps for the other appraisers. Finally,
That's why,
kind
to
of.
be fair, that's why you didn't know what you did.
That's right, exactly. Still not sure I know what we do, but that's another story. No, but I worked there for about a year and a half, and I went to my boss, my ex-wife's father at the time, and I said, I'd like to take you to lunch because I need to ask you something. I was wanting to do the right thing. So we went to lunch, and I said, you know, I'd like to get your permission to marry your daughter. And he laughed, and he said, I think that's wonderful, but I've got to fire you because there's nepotism
Right.
rules. And I said, well, I don't know I like that answer. He goes, well, now if you don't marry her and you break her heart, I'm going to fire you anyway. So what do you want to do? So
You're out either way.
Absolutely. So, but it all worked out well. I got married to her, found a job over in Dallas at the Dallas Appraisal District.
Okay.
Realized real quick there's a difference between a small appraisal district and a large appraisal district.
I bet.
Yeah, you know, and I enjoyed the people at the Dallas Appraisal District, but there it was more like being a factory worker. You're just a number,
Right.
and you're just they want you to do one thing and do it over and over and over. And I didn't enjoy that. I wanted to learn the whole process,
Right.
and I wanted to grow and just understand everything that I could understand and learn about the appraisal district in our industry.
And you
So-
had big shoes to fill with your father-in-law.
That's right. So a position came open in Rockwall. That's when I went over to Rockwall, worked my way up to deputy chief appraiser there in Rockwall. And then this position in 2007 as chief appraiser in Hunt County came open. And I still wasn't sure that I was ready for the job, but I applied for the job and convinced the board members here that I was the person for the job, and they hired me. And the rest is history.
Wow, I didn't
Yeah.
realize when I met you in 2008, you'd only been here a year.
Yes, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah. So,
That's incredible.
yeah, it's gone by so fast, though.
Yes.
It really has.
Yes, I didn't realize you were so early into your career for that.
Yeah, I
Wow.
was Goodness, I was 34 years old when I took the job here.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and I've been here 14 years, so you can do the
Yeah.
math. Yeah.
That's really cool. Once you got into the business and you understood the business, what made you want to stay in the business? Because it's not an easy business.
It's not, but it's a rewarding business. While we are unpopular because of what we do, we also get to help people, and we get to interact with people daily. And I really enjoy working with people, meeting new people. I really enjoyed the early days whenever I was a field appraiser because I was out. You didn't have to sit at a desk all day long. You were out in the field. You were inspecting properties. You would meet a lot of people. During protest season, you would meet a whole lot of people. But you also got to educate people and help them understand the process and help walk them through the process of the property tax system. And it was really encouraging, and whenever you could see that you helped them understand it, or there was a problem that they had that you helped them through, and they were thankful for that. And so I just really enjoyed that part of it. And the job that we do is really, it's an important job. If we don't do our job properly, then our school districts and our school kids, they don't get funded properly.
Right.
They lose money from the state. And so what we do at our office impacts our community as far as the school districts getting full state funding, and as far as the other cities and the county being able to operate and generate the revenue they need to be able to do the things that they do for our citizens.
Absolutely. And I think it's important for people to know you don't work for our local government.
That's right. That's right. We are actually a political subdivision of the state. We're not local government. We do appraisals for all of the local taxing entities
Right.
that levy a property tax, but we're not a part of any of those entities. We're called the Hunt County Appraisal District, but we're not part of the county itself.
And I think that's one thing that's always confusing to our citizens, is they don't understand that. They're like, oh, so-and-so paid them off to do that. And
Right.
they don't understand that no one can pay you off. No one locally really has the pull to change anything.
That's exactly right. We're an independent, and the legislature set it up that way specifically to remove politics out of the process. As a matter of fact, they passed a bill this past legislative session that specifically says if an elected official communicates with the chief appraiser for the purpose of influencing values, it's a Class A felony.
Wow.
So, yeah. So there's some very
strict. They got
strict.
serious about that.
Absolutely.
You spend a lot of time in Austin.
I do.
With legislation. What is that like?
It's something that I really enjoy. If you haven't seen the legislative process, it can get, it's not as simple as, hey, here's a great idea, let's pass a law to make this happen. Even though it's a very common sense idea, you don't know all the different angles and the opinions of people until you throw it out there into a legislative bill, and then all of a sudden you realize, okay, there's some issues with that. But I am an advocate for our industry. I'm part of our statewide association of appraisal districts. I'm the chair of our legislative committee. And so I get to work not only with our local House representative and state senator, but with representatives and state senators across the state, because in every district they're dealing with property taxes and property tax appraisal. And that is a major topic every legislative session.
Absolutely.
As a matter of fact, on the third called special session that started yesterday, the governor has put property tax relief on that call, and so they'll be talking about property taxes again during this third special session. So, but I enjoyed it. It gives me the opportunity not only to help the industry and to help the citizens to provide good property tax policy, but it gives me the opportunity to learn more about our industry, because when you're down there talking with the policymakers, you have a very good understanding of what the concerns are and what needs to be addressed. And so we always want to improve the system, and we want to make it better for the taxpayer. At the end of the day, the taxpayer is our customer, and we want to provide the best service that we can for those folks.
And being a part of that, I would think, would open your eyes and see other ways that other counties do things and the things that they're up against, and really giving you a really great source of resources for you,
Absolutely.
how to handle things. And
yes.
And
Yeah.
kind of seeing the cause and effect.
That's right.
If we
That's
do
right.
this is what happens.
Well, you see the good, the bad, and the ugly. You know, you
Exactly.
see how other appraisal districts do things that work well, and then you see appraisal districts that have tried different things that completely failed, and it tells you, okay, let's not do that in
Right.
Hunt County because that wasn't a good idea. So,
What an honor to serve as the chairman.
you know, I enjoy it. It's an interesting story how that came about, and it's kind of a boring story, but I'll tell it real
But
quick.
tell
I'll
it.
tell it real
I
quick.
wanna hear
So, I was probably 4 years into the industry, but we had I guess I was a little bit into it because I was working here. It was right
Okay.
when I started at Hunt County Appraisal District, and this is when Dr. Dool was still our state senator. And our industry had switched over to where we were now under the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation, TDLR. They didn't understand some of the ways that we work, the mechanics of the appraisal districts. And so there were some rules that they were interpreting differently. So I went to Dr. Dool and I said, hey, we'd like you to file and pass a bill for us to help TDLR understand us a little bit better. And when you ask someone to file a bill, you better be ready because they want you to come testify on the bill. And I'd never done that before.
Oh, my
And of course, I was extremely nervous. I'd never testified in front of the state Senate before. And so in my testimony, I made a few comments about how TDLR was not interpreting the law properly. Well, the executive director of TDLR was at that hearing in attendance. And so quickly after the hearing, the executive director approached me and kind of pinned me up in the corner and started giving me the what for on how dare you tell the Senate that we're not interpreting the law. And about that time, Dr. Dool walked out to, say thanks for showing up and testifying. And he saw what was going on and he jumped in between us and he said, you need to leave my chief appraiser alone. So, it was, but I had some of my colleagues there that saw that and they thought, man, if Brent's willing to take that on our behalf, we need to work him up through the ranks. So,
You must have been passionate about that.
I'm very passionate about what I do in anything that I do. I
Right.
think that if you're going to do something, you might as well do it all the way.
Go all in.
That's right.
Where do you think that came from in your life?
I think it comes from my parents, just watching them, growing up and seeing how whenever they get into a project, my dad especially, he would get into something and there wasn't any interrupting him until he got it done. And just seeing that example and that role model instilled that in me, yeah.
That had to be hard for him if he was stellar focused like that. And then, being a pastor, you're needed
Right.
on a whim,
And he was, it was, but also seeing the way that he dealt with people and cared for people, I think that was an extremely good example for me because I do care. I want people to, I want to help people. And we can't always help people doing what I do, but we go the extra mile. And everyone in our office, I think you'll find out, goes that extra mile to try to help
They really
people.
do. And I work with lots of people in your office, and they really do go the extra mile, and they do care. And, that's one of the reasons that we've enjoyed doing the tax protest seminar with you every year, so that we can help educate the community.
Right.
Because so much of it is about the education, and when you understand something, then you can understand why something is the way it is, or understand the way to fix it and how to make it right. And you've always shown in those seminars how you want to make sure the data is correct on
Right.
their properties, because sometimes it can be incorrect. And so you've always been transparent about that, and I appreciate that you open up and let people come and share that with you.
Well, I'm glad that you host it and let us participate. And we're not perfect. We're going to make mistakes, and we need people to
Show you
help
grace.
show us where we're wrong
And show
so we
you
can
where you're
fix
wrong.
it. That's
exactly.
right. Yeah.
Well, and I think that goes for everyone. There's no business, there's no entity that's perfect.
That's
Everyone
right.
is human and makes mistakes.
You bet.
But you are open about how that process works. And I think that says a lot about your character and who you are, because nowhere does it say you have to do that.
Sure.
I mean, you do have to be honest, and you can say, go to my website, but you're willing to step out and step in front of people and be willing to answer their questions. So
Well.
that means a lot to us.
Well, great. Well, thanks for having us.
Absolutely. So what do you see from here? I mean, you've been in the role now for so long. Like, is
You
this
know,
your role? And
I think so. As long as they'll have me, I really I enjoy it here.
how do you get out of that position if you take another job somewhere? I mean, does the state do they appoint you?
No, we're I'm appointed by the board of directors of the appraisal district.
Okay, so
and
they
the-
make that
And the
decision.
board of directors is appointed by the 34 taxing units that we serve. So My bosses are the 7-member board
Okay.
of directors. And like I said, as long as they'll have me, I plan on sticking around. I like it here. I love it here. You know, it's good people. We've got a great staff, a great board, and the citizens of Hunt County are just amazing. And so I've toyed with the idea of, do I want to go on to a larger district or a metro district? And I think, do I want those extra headaches that come along with that, and give up what I have here? And I just don't see that happening anytime soon, because this is just such a great place to be.
It really is. You know, your experience at the Dallas Appraisal District probably was invaluable, because as you're growing and advancing, you want to go to the next level. But now you've had that experience, so you can look forward to be like, I know what happens in the big appraisal districts.
Yeah, right.
And I know that that's not what I want.
Right,
So
yes.
that was probably a blessing for you, to not only for the experience level, but to know going forward what you want and what you don't want.
Right.
So.
And it's nice to know people, to know the people directly that you impact when you do your job. You know, at a large appraisal district, you don't know anyone. You know, you're making these decisions that impact people's lives, but you don't know them.
I know.
In a district this size, you know the people, and you know when you make a decision how it impacts them and who those people are. And to me, I think that's just a really cool thing to know, that you know you can have that type of relationship with the people that you serve.
And you know you're going to see them at the grocery store
That's
and
right.
at church.
Yes.
In the restaurants, everywhere
Exactly.
you go.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay, so your role is really strong. You have to be a really strong person and a balanced person. Where's your center point? How do you stay balanced and fair? How do you do that?
You know, I think it's just finding that outlet. You can't focus 100% of your time on doing your job all the time. You've got to have other things in your life. And for me, it's my kids. You know, I've got 3 amazing kids that drive me crazy sometimes, but they keep me busy, and I enjoy every second I have with them. So that's my kind of get away from the duties of the chief appraiser and just go be dad, you know. And they're amazing, and they keep me balanced and refreshed, and you know, they're the thing that I do all this for, basically.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I mean, you have your priorities straight. So
Well, I try to. I hope so.
that's great. No, I think that's wonderful. You kind of already talked about this, but let's talk more specific. We're on Heart of Greenville, so let's talk for a minute of the things that you love about Greenville. We know you love the people. You
Right.
shared that. What are some other things that you love about Greenville?
You know, just the fact that it's got so much more potential. It's a great place, and I think it can only get greater, and I think it's going to get greater. And it's one of these, you asked me, you know, what's my future look like? The reason I like it here, and I think I'll stay here, and I want to stay here, is because I have the opportunity to see it grow and be a part of helping that growth and help guide how that happens. And that's exciting to me. You know, I think that just watching, I'm so excited to see what this place looks like 10 years from now.
Yes.
You know, it's going to be completely different. And knowing that you were a part of that and you helped in some way, some small way,
Yes.
to help manage that is just, it's exciting. And just everything about it, just the atmosphere, it's a growing community, but it still has that small town feel. You know, just last weekend, the kids and I, we were just walking around downtown, looking at the murals and taking pictures, and just, you know, you can't do that anywhere.
That's
and so
true.
it's just, it has that small town feel, but you know, it's going places. Yeah.
I love that. See, I just took a little trip, came downtown and walked around and strolled. And
Oh yeah.
There's
yeah.
some really cool little shops down there.
There really is.
Did you go to the ice cream shop?
Yeah,
It's kind of across from the
yes.
Ashton Rose and down a little bit.
We went there, and then of course we went to the Amazon store.
Oh.
And I got to tell a story. So
Yes.
my 10-year-old son, he had some birthday money. He had just turned 10 years old, and he wanted to buy a mystery box. And he wanted one of the big ones, $150 version.
Oh, wow.
And I'm trying to convince him, are you sure you want to do this? Because my fear is he's going to do that and he's going to get something great and he's going to become a gambler the rest of his life because he gambled and won. And so I'm hoping, okay, if he does do this, I'm really kind of hoping it's not so great. And he bought him a mystery box, and he was so excited about it because everybody had told him, oh, you can get Xboxes and iPads and iPhones. And so he put his money down. He bought him a mystery box. He was so excited about it, he couldn't even wait to get home to open it. We opened it right there in the store, and sure enough, it's full of just random stuff that he could care less about.
Oh, wow.
So you could see the disappointment on his face, and it was a good lesson for him. But the funny part was later that afternoon, we were back at the house, and I asked him, I said, son, you feeling all right? You still a little bit upset? And he goes, yeah. I said, well, that's a good lesson. You need to understand that there's risk in those types of things. He goes, I understand that, Dad. He goes, my concern is, remember, he's 10 years old. He says, I just don't know that I'm ever going to financially recover from this. So, here he is, 10 years old. He had $150, and now it's gone. He's worried that he's not.
Recover?
Exactly. So.
Bless his heart.
Right.
I mean, he learned a lesson. But
he did.
Yeah. He's going to be your saver.
I know, right?
And hopefully your investor.
That's right. Yes. Maybe he can take care of me in my old age.
When he sits down with his advisor, he's not going to choose the risk.
That's right.
He's going to want the more conservative.
Yeah.
How funny. That's cool. I love that you did that. And you do spend a lot of quality time with your kiddos. And
I do. And I just love every second of it. Yeah. As a matter of fact, my daughter, she is in the ballet class just right here downtown. There's a ballet, harmonic motion ballet, and so she goes 5 days a week to ballet, and she loves every second of it. And so she's been doing it since she was 4 years old. She's 13 now, so we got high hopes for her as well. Yeah.
I haven't seen her in a while, but do you remember how I met her?
Yeah, at church. Whenever she had fallen. Yeah, yes. We were coming into church that day, and it was raining outside.
Yes.
And so we were running to get into the doors, and she hit a mud puddle and slipped and fell and had mud all over her. And of course, Dad doesn't know what to do. I'm just like, suck it up. I'm sorry, you
can't go in the ladies' bathroom.
Yeah. So you came to the rescue and took her in there and helped her get cleaned up, and I was much appreciative of that. Yeah.
I was glad to be there to do that. I was like, okay, we can fix this. Come on. I'm like, I know you don't know me, but your dad's going to stand right here, but we're going in here.
Yes. Yeah.
But no, you've always made your focus on your kiddos, and I think that's awesome. And so that's you don't get that time back.
No, you don't, and it goes by so fast. Everybody tells you, it's going to go by so fast, and you don't realize it until one day they're teenagers.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
It's crazy.
That's happening. David's 16.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you, enjoy every moment.
Right. I don't have any that are driving yet. I don't know how I'm going to handle that. So you can give me some advice.
It's bittersweet.
Yeah.
The first week I was nervous. The second week I'm like, yes, he can drive everywhere and take Davey too.
Right. Right. Frees up a lot of your time.
It does. It does. But you're doing it right. You're laying that foundation for them. Well, because when they turn, that's what I've been thankful about with David. He has a strong foundation, a good foundation, and thankfully, knock on wood, he's still acting the way he should be, to the best of my knowledge.
Yeah.
All right, Brent, let's wrap up the show. I told you at the beginning I would ask you a random question based on the number you picked between 1 and 20. So what is your number?
17.
17. Tell me why you chose 17.
It just sounds like a good number. I like that number. There's no really good reason for it.
This is your question.
Okay.
What is one thing no one knows about you?
Did I say 17? I meant 7.
You can't have 7 because everybody chooses 7. What's one thing you want to tell us that no one knows about you?
That's a tough question. I don't know that there's probably if they don't know it about me, there's probably a reason they don't know it about me. It's because I don't want them
You don't want them to know about it. Do you have a funny claim to fame thing?
No, I'm really a pretty boring guy, to be honest with you.
Really? I think there's stories in there, Brent. Do you need another question?
Yeah, give me another
normally
one.
don't.
Give me another one. Yeah.
Okay.
Do me a favor.
You can't do 7 because I get that a lot. So choose another number.
All right, 9.
Okay, number 9. If you could time travel, where would you go and why?
I would go back to the age of the greatest generation. Back during those days. My granddad was a pilot in World War II.
Really?
And what's so interesting, and like a lot of World War II veterans, he wouldn't talk much about it. But just every now and then he would tell stories about his experience and just about those days. and looking at the pictures, and you see it in the movies, and it's probably not as great as it looks in the movies, but and there were some tough times back then as well. But it just seems like that was a different era. You didn't have so many distractions, and there was a lot more focus on family, and it just seemed like a really good time to live in. So that's probably where I would want to go back to.
I've not ever heard that answer. I think that's a great answer.
Yeah.
I agree. I think that was a really cool time, and just, I don't know, the character of the people.
Yes.
And, their loyalty and their
and
patriotism.
work ethic, and yeah.
Yes, I mean, they were so patriotic and strong work ethic, and
Right.
strong in family. So,
Yeah.
sounds like a great area to go to.
There you go.
All right, Brent, thank you so much for finally sitting down with me. I really appreciate it. I've enjoyed getting to know more about you. You told me stories I didn't know, so
There you go.
I really enjoyed that. So thank you again, and thank you for your service to our country, and thank you for serving Hunt County.
Thank you.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
it.
Thank you for watching Heart of Greenville. This video series, which is designed to celebrate Greenville, Texas, is spearheaded by REMAX 3D Real Estate.